All right. Hello, everybody. I guess good evening if you're in Ukraine. Thank you so much for those of you who have joined us already. Probably a couple more people will be coming in here, but let's go ahead and get started. We are obviously hosting this lecture from EduSA Ukraine because everything is virtual right now, but thankfully it's still easy to connect with people in the US. And today we're going to have a great session from the College of Charleston. And the Director of International Admissions there, Tina MacDonald, is joined today by a Ukrainian student, Maria from Lviv, who will tell about her journey to the US. And the second half of the session will really be devoted to a question and answer discussion session with Maria. So you can hear a real life success story, ask her about what to do, what not to do, and she can give you the inside scoop. But first off, to hear a little bit more about the College of Charleston, I'll pass it over to Tina. And just so everybody knows, we are recording this session, so you'll be able to access this later on our YouTube channel.
All right, thank you, Nellie. Hi, everyone. My name is Tina. I'm the Director of International Admission here at the College of Charleston. And I'm so happy to be here with you virtually this morning here in South Carolina and this evening for you all in Ukraine. I'm also very happy to be here with one of our incredible international students here at the College of Charleston, whose name is Maria. Maria, if you could just briefly introduce yourself and tell where you're from in Ukraine also.
My name is Maria Savelyeva. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, city is Lviv. In the United States, I'm already more than 3 years, and I decided to become music major, so I play cello. Yeah, I don't know. It's about it.
So we have, the format of this presentation is that I'm going to talk a little bit about the College of Charleston and introduce our institution to you. So we have a strong foundation of who we are as an institution. And then after that, we'll really delve into the Q&A with Maria. So throughout this presentation, please think of any questions that you may have for Maria or for myself. Type in the Q&A chat box, and we'll get to all of them at the end. So let's get started. We have a lot of information in a little limited amount of time, so let's dive right in. So the College of Charleston's namesake is the wonderful, beautiful city of Charleston in South Carolina in the United States. So what you're looking at here is actually one of the main streets in downtown Charleston. This is called Broad Street. Maria, this probably looks really familiar to you. This street is about a block away from our campus. We are in a very location. We're right in downtown Charleston. It's a very walkable city. I am actually going to tell you a little bit about myself here. And the reason why is because I'm actually quite new to the college and to the city of Charleston. So you might ask, why does that make me a good person to tell you about our institution and about our city? But the reason why is because I came from the northern part of the United States, from a city called Boston. And if you know anything about the US, you may be very aware of the fact that the northern part of the US is quite different from the south. We're such a big, massive country. So when I first came to Charleston, when I first moved here, I felt like an international student because of how different it is from where I came. But because of that, I have such a great perspective of what it's like to be a newcomer here to this city, and to how warm and welcoming the city of Charleston is to newcomers like me. You may have heard of some Southern US stereotypes, such as the phrase Southern charm or Southern people, and how culturally friendly and warm they are, and I can really truly attest to that. The city of Charleston has been ranked the #1 city by Travel and Leisure magazine for the past 7 years in a row. I highly encourage you to fact check me and Google this, because when you do, you will be delighted with even more beautiful pictures of our city of Charleston. So you'll see here where we are located within the United States. Where my mouse is hovering here is our city of Charleston. So we're in the southeastern part of the United States, and we're right on the coast. So the city of Charleston is actually the 4th largest port on the eastern seaboard, and that is where my mouse is hovering here, the part of the US that borders the Atlantic Ocean. We have 3 beaches within 30 minutes of our campus. Maria, you probably have been to all of them by this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I did.
it's one of the wonderful benefits of being located here, and with the warm climate, it really allows you to be outside pretty much all year round, all the time. Very different from winters in Ukraine, I have to say. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our College of Charleston facts and figures. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but some main points that I think are important for you as an international student are that, first and foremost, the College of Charleston is a public university in the United States. So we were founded in the year 1770. I'll talk a little bit about that later and our historic significance within the United States. We're about 10,000 students total, and that's undergraduate students. We do have a separate graduate school, which is about 1,000 students total, but that 10,000 undergraduate student size means that we are primarily an undergraduate bachelor degree serving institution. And we have students from about 62 foreign countries represented on our campus. Average class size is about 22 to 25 students. And I'm going to talk a little bit next about the history of Charleston, where we're located in the United States. So the College of Charleston is one of the oldest universities in the United States of America. We're actually the 13th oldest. Now consider this when you think about the fact that there are over 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States. So actually just a few months ago in January, the college celebrated its 250th year of existence. It was a big party all day. Maria, you probably remember that.
Yeah.
So the city of Charleston has a huge place in American history, and therefore our college as well. If you know anything about Civil War history in the United States, the city of Charleston is actually where the first shots of the Civil War were fired. And because of that, our college has huge prominence in this history in the United States. 3 of our founders were actually future signers of the US Declaration of Independence. This photo that you're looking at here, this is called Randolph Hall, and it is one of the oldest buildings, one of the oldest university buildings in America. So in terms of what you can study as a student here, so we offer over 140 majors and minors to our students. We have everything from accounting to urban studies. One of the great benefits and hallmark of US higher education is its flexibility. So you may know that you want to be a business major, for example, or a finance major. And that's great if you have that focus, but when you apply to most universities in the US, including College of Charleston, you actually will apply undecided, and then you'll take a liberal arts curriculum your first year, your freshman year of university here, and then your second year is when you choose which major to declare and really start focusing on that program of study. The other great benefit and flexibility is that you can double major, so you can choose more than one topic to focus on, or you can do a major and a minor. So it's really up to you, and we really help cater your educational path to align with your career. So Maria, you stated that your major is music.
Music major.
Are you doing a minor here?
I don't think so.
Okay, you haven't decided yet.
Yeah, undecided yet.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the application process, just so you have an idea of what we require to submit an application to the College of Charleston. what our minimum test score requirements are. And then if you have any specific questions about any of these details, feel free to ask them in the Q&A at the end. So to submit an application, you can choose to submit either the common application online or our own College of Charleston application. No preference is given to either. I always recommend to international students, if you're applying to a US university, the Common App is something that you should really look into. The purpose of the Common App is that you as a student apply to, you submit one application and you can apply to any of the universities which belong to the Common Application. So the purpose of this is that you only need to submit and fill out one application, but you can apply to multiple schools using that application. So along with the application, after that is submitted, we will require your official transcripts. So this is the record of your academic courses and grades throughout secondary school. This is one of the most important things that we look at because this is how we determine your academic strength. And this is what helps us determine if you will succeed at our university level of classes. Finally, testing is a rather notorious part of the US university application process. And we are currently what you would call test flexible, where to provide proof of English proficiency, you need to submit one of the following 5 exams that I have listed here. And you must meet one of the minimum score requirements. All right, so we're actually going to dive into the Q&A pretty quickly after this, but one thing that I want to mention, and that Maria has not been through yet because she is currently in her first year of her undergraduate studies at the College of Charleston, is one of our favorite traditions for students here. So what you're looking at here is a picture from graduation from the class of 2023, so this is a graduating class. And this is something that all College of Charleston students look forward to during their time here. We have a very unique graduation where instead of the traditional cap and gown that you often see for US university graduations, all of our graduating students dress in white. So the women wear white dresses and the men wear white dinner suits. And the women actually hold 6 roses. You can see them here and some of the girls in the picture. And these 6 roses represent the first 6 females that graduated from the College of Charleston. So it takes place outside on our beautiful cistern yard, which is pictured here and actually in my background too, in front of Randolph Hall. And it's an incredible tradition that unfortunately due to the pandemic, it's going to be delayed this year for our students, but I know it's something that everyone, including Maria this time, is looking forward to when they are able to graduate. So let's get into the Q&A with Maria. In the meantime, this is our contact information on social media, email. Feel free to contact us in any of these ways. And if you also have any questions that you want to ask Maria directly, just email international@cfc.edu, and then we can provide you with Maria's contact information. So with that said, let's get to some of the questions. And Maria, if there's anything that you want to mention that I didn't talk about in the presentation about student life here, feel free to chime in.
Student life, well, I think the most important thing is supposed to be ready emotionally to move into new life. I mean, United States, for me, it was emotional, like change, I would say even. When I came here, it was very difficult emotionally, and it was difficult to leave my country and culture and people, because here you have to get used to different culture.
So, Maria, let me just give a little background information, because one of the pathways to US University is the pathway that you took. And that was enrolling in an English language school first.
Yes, correct.
to improve your English ability so that you were able to then enroll in our university level.
Correct.
So,
Because, yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
so we have an English Language Institute on our campus. We call it the ELI. And is what Maria initially enrolled in. And if you want to talk about that pathway, you can, but that's an important thing, I think.
Yeah, sure. The way I choose English Institute here, because I didn't have high enough score for TOEFL or IELTS. So College of Charleston offered me to join English Institute to improve my English skills, so they can easily enroll me into College of Charleston, which happened finally last year. I finished English courses, and it wasn't very difficult, just intense, and every day you have to speak a lot and study and just follow rules, and they'll successfully prepare you for studying here at College of Charleston for all classes almost.
So going back to my slide about our English proficiency requirements, which you can see here. So when Maria, what happened is she met all other requirements except for these minimum English proficiency scores. So that is something to really keep in mind as an international student. If you don't outright meet the English proficiency requirement, you can look for options like Maria did of attending intensive English language program in the United States, whether it's on our campus or through an independent English language school, to boost that English proficiency and then matriculate into the bachelor degree program. So that is what many students do. We have a lot of students at CFC that take that route, or you can just meet the English proficiency requirements outright. So Maria, we have one question here for you. How old were you when you moved to the US, and did you go to university in Ukraine?
I moved to US around when I was 17, right after I finished high school. That's my plan. And I didn't go to any universities, but I had in case if I won't be accepted to College of Charleston, I was thinking to go somewhere in Ukraine, but I didn't decide yet.
Can you can you talk maybe a little bit generally about your path? You know, how did you make the decision to go to the US when you were in high school, and what did that application process look like?
Sure. Everything began actually with my mom and my parents. They tried to contact Ukrainian professor here at the College of Charleston. She's a musician. She plays cello as well, and she originally from the same city as I. So every year, this professor, her name is Natalia Khoma. Every year she visiting Ukraine to give master classes to young musicians, kids, help them and involve them, maybe offer any help or online classes. So I was one of them, and I was interested in that opportunity. I was 11 years old, about maybe 12. I don't really remember, but the first thing I remember, she told me, "Oh, Maria, the first thing you have to study is English, because otherwise you'll be able to get in." That's what I did. After that, finally, this graduation year from high school, I'm getting ready to move to the United States. Documentations, about documents. It was difficult with visa process a little bit, because I never had a visa for United States. And 2016, it was, I don't know, for some reason, it was problem for me to get, there were a lot of questions in the United States Embassy. But later, I just needed to apply to the music program at the College of Charleston and English courses as well. So that wasn't very difficult. It's easy to follow, just step by step. And yes, here I am. When I came here, I wasn't alone. I was with my sister, and she helped me through, of course. I tried to get used. I couldn't speak, by the way, English very well at that time. I was really scared. Maybe for everybody it's different. Yeah. Then you just have to accept everything and do not give up, and you will survive here. I think so.
Maria, what is your favorite part about Charleston?
Favorite part of Charleston?
Yeah, what's the favorite aspect of the city or the campus that appeals to you?
Because it's warm here, like the weather and the atmosphere. I always wanted to go somewhere and live where it's warm all the time, and you don't have to worry that you will get sick. Because in Ukraine it was a problem for me. And yeah, I think I'm lucky because, and plus, college really old, so it reminded me a little bit of Europe and like my hometown. So I think I'm really lucky to be here.
Yeah,
Wow.
one of the impressions that a lot of foreigners or visitors to our city get that they say about Charleston is that it's a very European feeling,
Yes,
and that has
correct.
a lot to do with the
Yes.
architecture and the history that I talked about a little bit before.
Hmm.
So, do you, as a student here, what is your favorite activity? Is it the beaches? Is it a certain club on campus? Favorite class?
Yeah. My favorite is probably the beach. I love to go to the ocean and relax there. Sometimes I take my cello and play there and trying to inspire myself. Then also walking downtown, explore new streets. That's one of my favorite things to do because every street is so unique. I mean, it reminds me again my hometown. Those very like 3-floor building, right? Like not high buildings. Um, of course, hanging out with friends. Um, yeah, that's practicing. Practicing is first thing. You did probably
Did you say breakfast?
practicing.
Oh, practicing. I thought you meant going out to eat. Charleston is known for its food scene. So, and what is your favorite class here? Or, and I know you're in your first semester of the undergraduate program, but what what has been most interesting for you so far?
Oh, I cannot say that I have my favorite class, but most of them actually I like. I cannot say that I don't like something for now because it was easy semester for me. Most of the classes were music, which I'm okay in this area. So maybe next semester I'll figure out what is that.
You know what classes you're taking next semester yet?
Yes, I already registered for all my classes, taking the maximum of credits. I'm kind of scared.
You'll be fine. I know you'll do great. So speaking about some of the programs that we offer, there's two questions here about, or one question about engineering, which is not what Maria studies. But I'm glad this question was asked because our systems engineering major, which is, oops, let me just go back to our program of studies here. Our systems engineering major is actually our newest major, and it's our first engineering major, which we're really excited to introduce this year in fall 2020. And systems engineering is, if you think about the concept of a project from start to finish, systems engineering is the architecture, the concept, and the design all the way to fruition. So it actually involves business, computer science, and engineering, of course. So the physics, math, and science that's involved in engineering. So it's quite an interdisciplinary engineering major. And if you have that broad type of interest in all of those disciplines, it could be a great fit for you. And then related to that is a question about GPA and how do we look at students' GPA and does it matter? So I can answer very clearly that yes, it does matter. And when I was on this slide talking about the official transcripts, so this is the overview that we receive of your academic history throughout secondary school. And the reason we require this is we want to know what type of student you are, what classes you took, and how you performed in those specific classes. So in the US, high school is 4 years. It's grades 9 through 12. So when students are applying from foreign countries, we require as close to that as possible. We know the educational systems don't always match up. But with that 4 years of information of your academic history, we can really see any trends of whether your grades in year 9 were, for example, very high or low compared to what you're achieving now in class. And so it's really important for us to have this full picture, again, so that we know how you're able to perform as a US university student here. The US university application requires a lot of items and documents. It's one of the most involved application processes in the world, I think. But the reason that we require all of these documents is we really want to know who you are as a person and piece those documents together to get the full picture of you, to ensure that you'll be not only a good fit for our campus classrooms, but also our campus social life and organizations and clubs and all the activity that goes on outside of class as well. So with that said, the GPA does matter, but it is just one aspect of what we look at when we're reviewing the application. But it is one of the most important because after all, you're coming here to study academically. Nellie, did you have any specific questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, maybe Tina, you can speak about this, and Maria, I know you've only done 1 semester, but from your perspective as well, can you talk about the emphasis on liberal arts at Charleston? I mean, do students have to take classes outside of their major, or, for example, Maria, are you only taking music classes so far? Will you have to take other general education requirements? I ask because obviously I am a product of the liberal arts system, and I think it's a great advantage and something unique to the US, but I think sometimes students maybe don't understand it or have a negative reaction to it because they think, oh, well, I'll be learning the exact same things I learned in high school. Whereas in my perspective, it's quite different. So maybe both of you could sort of speak to that.
Yeah, I can introduce a little bit about that concept. And you're right, Nellie, that is such an American way of learning and quite foreign to people from outside of the US often. And I should have specified when I introduced COC as a public university. We are very specifically a public liberal arts and sciences university, which actually is quite rare in the US. There's not that many. But what that means and what liberal arts means in general is knowing a little bit about all subjects. So typically in that first year of a freshman year at CFC, for example, you will take general core courses. And that means classes in main subjects such as humanities, social science, natural sciences, mathematics, or quantitative learning. And the reason for this is to give you a really solid foundation for your academic learning in the future, but also to supplement that specific major that you will focus on in your later years. So in Maria's example, music. But Maria, talk about any of the general liberal arts classes that you've taken. Have you taken those yet in this semester?
Not really. Unfortunately, I just took only music classes this semester because it was second semester. I mean, it was spring semester, right? And I couldn't join the second part of some of these subjects. So
you've been mainly focusing on music right now?
Yeah, this semester, yes, but next semester I'm going to take some general.
And then we have a question here about visiting, and I'm assuming the question is, will you have something like an open day? And is there a possibility to attend online? So we do have what's called open houses, usually in person, but again, due to the situation that we are in globally right now with the pandemic, our campus is closed for the time being. So we have a lot of virtual events, including a virtual campus tour. We've done our virtual admitted student events online too, via Zoom or some other virtual platforms. So I really encourage you to follow us on social media, which is listed here, or email us to be added to our list, and then you'll receive any invitations to these types of virtual events in the future. So good question.
Maria, since a lot of students will be, starting their application process during the summer or choosing universities, what's the main piece of advice, as someone who's gone through it, for students who are going to be going through the application process in the next couple of months?
Probably, for me personally, it was financial documents problem, because you have to show the exact amount they require, and then you have to translate those documents, and it's just a lot of work about translating, especially school documents as well, high school documents, grades. It's probably the most difficult was for me. And yeah, and visa process probably, and the application would be easier. I mean, easier later if you just have all documents together.
So Maria, one piece of advice that you may agree with is really taking advantage of the people that work at the university to help you with this process.
Yeah.
Communicated a lot about, what documents are required and why is this required. Often the visa process can be very confusing to students.
Yeah. Yes.
Knowing, how much money do I need to show in my bank account, and
yes,
what scholarship am I getting that I can subtract from that, things like that. It's really helpful to work closely with your admission officer or someone at the university that was involved in your application process to do with that. Maria and I worked pretty closely together for this process, and that's how we got to know each other so well.
I think that's another strength of American universities, is that they have really strong support for international students. So please use them during the application process, because that is their job to support you. And then even once you get on campus, maybe Maria, you can speak to this. They're still there to support you all the years that you're in university. So helping you make sure that you are, adhering to your visa guidelines, or even offering, social activities to help international students integrate and, get used to the culture. So please turn to them for support, because that's what they're there for.
Yeah, and we have a question about, about the visa process in general. And that is something that, while we're not at the university side, we don't have any control over that. We can, help you make sure you have all the documentation that you need. If you're in your home country and preparing to go to the US Embassy for your interview, we can help you a little bit with that. But also Education USA is a great resource for that too. Probably the best resource if you're in your home country. But the whole process of the US University issuing your Form I-20, which allows you to apply for your visa appointment at your local US Embassy or consulate, that really is done by people like me on our end at the university. So we have a lot of experience with this and are always open to any questions that you may have to really put you at ease, to make sure that you are all set and prepared to apply for your visa and then ultimately enter the US. Natalie, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, this is often a common question. I'm surprised no one has asked it yet. Could you talk about the financial aspect? Maria, I don't know if you received any scholarships or how did you figure out how to finance your education? You mentioned that, and it's important for students to think about that ahead of time because unfortunately now we're dealing with this. Where in May, students are emailing us and saying, you know, I've been accepted to this university, but I need to come up with, you know, a couple $1,000 more, and it's tough this late in the process. So what advice would you have for students in terms of financing their education?
Well, for me, I had scholarship. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure actually how it happened because my professors mostly helped me with that. Maybe Tina might know how I got those scholarship, but probably my music department they accepted me, and my professor recommended me as a good cellist, and they listened to me. And before actually I became official student, I was participating in many concerts and showing myself everywhere. So College of Charleston really liked me, like music department really liked me as a cellist, so they decided to help me financially to give me a music scholarship, which is cover big amount of my tuition.
Yeah,
I'm lucky.
most of your tuition, I think,
Yeah.
was covered by this particular
Almost, yeah, I would say maybe even like 85%, 95, 90, something like that.
Yeah. So that's a good question about scholarship. And I think one of the most common barriers to studying in the United States is the high cost of particularly higher education here compared to education maybe in the student's home country. So scholarships are very important to most students, and we really recognize that here at College of Charleston in particular. There are certain scholarships like Maria's scholarship, which is specific to her as a cellist and as a music student here. And these are scholarships that are based on your specific talent or merit that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So these are scholarships that you would typically apply to separately from your actual application that you submit to apply for admission to the college. But in addition to that, there's also scholarships for which you are automatically considered upon submitting an application. So I can't speak for everyone, but at most universities, when you are applying for admission, at that same time of application review, what we do at CofC is we also automatically review you for a merit scholarship, an academic scholarship. So this scholarship is based on the strength of your academic performance in secondary school. So when I talked about looking at your transcripts that you've submitted, test scores, the strength of your test scores, all of that is taken into account. And then if you're admitted to our university, then along with your acceptance letter, you'll also receive a scholarship award. So you'll know right away how much money we are awarding you if you attend our university. One of the great things about CofC is that we award an automatic $10,000 per year scholarship to all admitted international students. This is actually called, I have a slide on it here, the International Ambassador Scholarship. So this is $10,000 per year specific to international students, and it is renewable each year. So it's a total of $40,000 towards your bachelor's degree at College of Charleston. And then when we review your application for admission, like I said, if you're a very strong student academically and have very strong grades, GPA, test score, then you could be eligible for additional money on top of that. So I always say it never hurts to apply because it's through that application process often that we're able to determine the actual amount of the scholarship that you're eligible for. So every school has their own standards for awarding this, and that's why it's also really important to apply to a lot of different schools so that you can compare and contrast what scholarship offers you've gotten from these various institutions to which you are admitted.
Fantastic. All right, let's do a last call for questions. This is your last chance to ask Maria and Tina everything you've ever wanted to know about college in the US. If there isn't anything, do either of you have some final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Maria, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh,
Or
sorry. I was checking. I would suggest before you move here, have to be ready emotionally and just be strong and do not give up, because America will keep strong people, I think. Honestly, really. If you're not strong, you will just have to leave. So never give up, and no matter what, even if you're very sad or something, you want to leave, go home, never give up. That's what I suggest. That helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great advice. I'll add to that I mentioned this before, but again, as an international student applying to a US university, really take advantage of your admission counselors and know that we understand how confusing this process can be and how literally foreign it is, and all the different requirements and deadlines. It's a lot of information to understand and to make sure that you're completing everything on time and submitting the correct documents. So we're really here to help you with that, and always feel free to reach out, and do not hesitate to take advantage of that.
I see we do have one last minute question. This is always a popular one. For you, Tina, are there any examples of international students that received full ride scholarships? Could you describe their bio, achievements, stats, etc.?
Good question. So we don't have any full complete tuition scholarships. And you'll find that those are actually quite rare. They do exist, but of course, they're quite competitive. They're for the best students literally in the world. And so at College of Charleston, I can speak specifically, of course, to my institution. The maximum scholarship we award is what would be the equivalent to in-state tuition for our US students here. So it'd bring you to the same level of what a US South Carolina resident pays, which currently is about $13,000 per year. But in terms of their biography and what this profile of a student looks like, this is a solid A student in terms of grades. When we look at foreign transcripts, we convert the grades to a US grading scale. So if you're familiar with the US 4.0 grading scale, they're very close or at a 4.0 GPA. High test scores, you saw the minimum scores that we require for English proficiency, so they're often very high above that. And then, of course, the involvement and leadership that they've exhibited throughout their high school career, wherever that may be, in their home country or in the United States if they've attended a US high school as an international student. We look at that very importantly too, because so much of the US university experience is campus-based and based on your residential life here. We really want our students to maximize, use to their potential all that they can on all that we offer in terms of clubs, organizations, activities, in addition to their classroom experience, so that they are ultimately making a change not only on our campus, but in the world as well once they graduate. So we look for signs of that, of what they've done in high school as well. So that is a brief example of what that profile looks like, but feel free to contact me via email if you have any additional questions or want me to get more specific about that.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. This has been really helpful and insightful. By the way, College of Charleston and Tina were at our fair last year, so we're good friends with them, and we'll see what happens this fall. As with everything, it's up in the air.
Yes.
But if you have any additional questions, can they reach you at that email there, Tina, on the screen?
Yeah, so international@csc.edu, and then you'll be put in touch with either myself or Maria if you have any questions specific to her.
Awesome. So yes, Mihai, this will be on our YouTube channel probably today in the next hour or so. And of course, if you have any questions about securing financial aid, visa questions, searching for university, as you all know, you can contact us at Education USA Ukraine. We're holding virtual advising sessions online right now, but we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you can find us on our website as well. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. Thank you, Tina and Maria. Please stay safe, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.